All right, we're just about to get started. If you're ready, I'm ready. Good afternoon and welcome. On behalf of Save America's Cinemas, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jay Michaels. So nice to be here today. Thank you very much. Before we begin explaining a little bit about why we're here and what we're doing, we want to go back to the golden age of cinema, and I think there's a movie that stands true in many of our minds and our hearts as being one of those films that we all relate to from the time we were children to our children's children and to our grandchildren and all of that. Everyone remembers The Wizard of Oz. So Walter decided that today we're going to start off our program with a little tribute to one of the greatest films of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the cast of The Wizard of Oz.
There's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, when troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, then oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I?
Ladies and gentlemen, Abby Blake, along with the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, with our tribute to the Wizard of Oz. Thank you so much. Give them a big hand once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're so glad to have you here once again, ladies and gentlemen. We all know why we're here. I think any of us that grew up in any of the major cities, I grew up in Philadelphia, and my early memories of going to a theater were to that little small town theater, that hometown theater. And as you looked around, I remember a little kid there in Philly, and I would look around and you'd see the architecture, and you'd hear that special sound that you only got out of a theater. And I think many of us in the room, the reason we even got involved in the arts or the entertainment industry was because of what we saw there on the silver screen. We wanted to be a part of that. And it was the romance of those beautiful theaters that brought us to where we are today. Sadly, ladies and gentlemen, because of technology, as you know, a lot of that's going by the wayside, and we're here to do something about it today. And my hat goes off to each and every one of you that participated and that are here today to be a part of this great, great Save America's Cinemas. And I'd like to introduce to you right now the man that had the vision, the man behind all of this, the founder of Save America's Cinemas. Would you please welcome Mr. Walter Shaw.
Thank you, Jay. I'm so glad a lot of you came out. This is very important to my heart and to the filmmakers in this room. And I'd like to thank everybody here. This is known as Little Appalachian, better known as Save America Cinema. You know what I mean, right? But the reason I really care about this cause, and I'm only going to say a few words because we've got a bunch of people because we're backed up, is when you saw this little skit here about Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the famous Judy Garland movie. Well, let's fast forward 50, 60 years. Could you imagine telling the kids in these communities they couldn't see that wonderful movie? And that's what we're in jeopardy of taking away from these kids in these communities, because if they take these theaters and close them, 3,100 left, 750 drive-in theaters besides this, then these kids in those communities will never see these great films, E.T. and so forth and so on. Even the stuff now. If you see James Bond's only on digital, the 007 that just came out with Craig. And if you see The Hoblet, or if you see Les Mis, it's on digital. There's no 35 millimeter prints. They stopped making prints since December, and March they're really going to be gone. And some of the corporations that are here that I'm buying equipment from will have their say and tell you about this. This is what's going on right now. This is the last year of this. So there won't be these 3,100 magnificent theaters we grew up on. So that's why I started this cause. It was 9 weeks ago. I saw it in the USA Today. I called NATO, which is National Organization of Theater Owners, and I got involved. I've had 60 theater companies sign up to get help. That was just 9 weeks. And they grow every day. I get between 10 and 15, and I personally call each and every one of them that send me their request for help. I call them back, and I assure them we're going to save each and every one of them. Our organization wants to save at least 400. I don't know beyond that, because that's $20 million I have to raise and save to do that. Now, on the flip side of this coin, the studios and the different companies, if they wanted to, that's like commissary money to them. So it's unfortunate they've chose to just let it go at this point, and I'm not willing to let it go. There's an old saying about some men have dreams and ask why. My father used to say, why not? When I got a hold of Texas Instruments used to make my dad's circuit boards for the conference call forwarding, and speakerphone and touch tone dialing. So Texas Instruments makes the chip that goes into these projectors. So that's how we got involved. And then they had me come to Show East and see what was going on. And then I got involved. I got to Show East. It was here this past 2 months ago at the Diplomat Hotel. I walked in, and all these banners were up saying, film is of the past. If you'd have seen what I saw, it'd be heartbreaking. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be able to save every one of these theaters in these communities for these kids. That we grew up on these films ourselves, and we grew up in these theaters ourselves across the nation. So that's how this came to be, and I'm not going to take up any more time than to say we got a full program. I've had actors that want to speak and say something. I got the theater owners, 6 of them that came in, that they want to say something and make the press aware of this cause. This is a very important cause. So I thank you for this, and I'm sorry we got delayed.
Bring up our celebrities first?
Yeah, I would.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of friends in the room, and a lot of our industry people who have taken time out of their very, very busy schedules to be here with us in Miami Beach today. And to stand here and go through the IMDb and to tell you everything they've done is ridiculous, because they're all household names. You know each and every one of them. And I'm going to try to just pick some people out of the room here who might want to say a few words. I see a gentleman there writing up front there. Tom, would you say a few words for us? Or you can sit there and say a few words. Tom Sizemore, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. I haven't been in front of this many people, except for the parole board. This many of them too, really. It's supposed to be 3. Anyway, I'm proud to say I'm 3 years, 9 months, and 16 days clean. That's the most important thing in my life right now. And I got 2 7-year-old twin sons that I have custody of, and then they're doing very, very well in school. One's a straight A student, and one most valuable player in his flag football league, and he won most valuable player in the championship game, and his name's Jaden, and my other son's name's Jagger, and that's what I've been doing. Raising my kids and getting healthy. Movies got me out of Detroit City. I was born to a family of pimps, robbers, junkies. Everybody was not doing really nice things. We didn't have any money. So my grandfather was from Tennessee, my grandfather was from Kentucky, and they were criminals. And if you don't have any money, you get it. My grandfather said, "That bitch sitting on $1 million. Get someone get that bitch up." You know what he meant, right? He was a pimp. She's sitting on $25 now. Shit. That's when she got older. But I had to grow up around that ugly shit. And I had a mother who was an angel and tried to shield me from it, but you only shield people from so much stuff. And the first movie I saw, oddly enough, was The Wizard of Oz. And when it was over, I asked my mom, I was 5 years old, I said, can I be in it next year? Because she said it'll be on next year. And I said, well, can I be in it next year? Because I didn't know what the movie was. And she said, they already made it. I said, what do you mean they made it? I thought I know what it was. I thought they did it right then. And she said, they made it in 1937 or something. I went, what? Really? Where are these people now? She said, they're all dead. And I said, wow, really? Well, I can't be in The Wizard of Oz? And she said, well, maybe one day they'll remake it. But I said, but then I'll be too big to play Dorothy, because I can play Dorothy now. Because I wanted to play the lead, or fuck it, I didn't want to do anything, be in it, you know. So she said, you can play the Tin Man. I said, fuck the Tin Man, I want to play Dorothy. Fuck Ray Bolger, I don't want to be Ray Bolger. You could be Burt Lahr. I said, big fat fucker, I don't want to play him. I'm going to be Steve McQueen. I'm just joking, but I can't think that way. But that was my first exposure to movies, was The Wizard of Oz, and it started a lifelong love affair with motion pictures and TV. And it was the impetus for me to audition for these theater programs in Detroit, outside of Detroit, namely Yale University, and I got into it. And I'm the only guy to go from Yale to jail, but I went to Yale, and then it took me a long time to get to jail. But my dad said I went to Yale to jail. But in between that period, I had a very, 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 I thought it was a great life, and it was. And I moved to New York City when I was 21 years old, and it was 1981. God damn, I'm old. And it was a great time in New York City. It was a great time to be a young actor. I didn't even know I was poor. You could just walk out of New York and look either which way, and everything was so colorful, and you couldn't take a bad walk in New York. Couldn't have a bad moment in New York. I couldn't, What? Oh, I'm going to get to that. And there was a theater where I saw my first big movie was called Ben-Hur, and I saw it at the Fox Theater in Detroit City, which is on Jefferson Avenue. And it was a theater that was, I guess you would call it ornate, and by today's standards, it was, it sat probably, 2,000 people, and it was a city block long. And you go see Ben-Hur there, you go see whatever first-run movies, Bullet, and I saw all those movies in this theater, and it was beautiful and elegant, these big, huge, columns, Greek columns. And they've torn that theater down now. I saw Diana Ross there when I was a kid. It's not unlike the Art Deco theaters here. It's part of our heritage, and it's part of my heritage was these big theaters. I saw movies, I saw The Deer Hunter on a screen bigger than that wall. Now you see movies and these little things, and it's just for a kid like me, the movie saved my life. I mean, I got a brother doing double life for murder, and I got some people in my family who aren't doing very well. And they never left Detroit, and they never had any dreams. And the movies gave me dreams. They gave me the ability to dream, and my mother watered that plant of dreams. And those big, beautiful movie theaters were someplace I wanted to be, on the screen and inside of them. And I don't think we could do anything more worthy than to preserve our young people's dreams. I mean, to be young and have dreams is very important. So thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Lovely lady sitting at Tom's table there. If I may ask her to come on up here. From Brooklyn, New York. She's on TV now telling us all about cooking and eating and all that good stuff we like to do as Italians. Debi Masur, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm honored to be asked by Walter to join you. Going to the movies for me was something that was a family experience. I would go with my grandmother, my parents, on a first date. I'm old enough to remember when we had the smoking section and the section for the children and the mothers for nursing. And it's really a shame that we're losing these beautiful theaters, and we really have to get the money together to fix them up, to make them modern, because many of them are architecturally divine and should be protected. But when I think about Thelma Schoonmaker and how she would edit and go frame by frame, you know, and the fact that we've lost film. I mean, I have to change the way that I do my makeup because of high def and digital. And, you know, I really enjoy going to the movies. Like, my husband is really good at, like, finding a movie, getting it through the computer somehow. And I end up a lot of times watching movies on my laptop, and I hate it because, you miss, like, everything. And so, you know, I just encourage everybody to spread the word, to donate, because these cinemas are, you know, they need the help, and we can't stop time from marching forward. And you know, it's a modern world. I mean, I look in New York and I see like Broadway. It used to be all trucking area, and now it's like an outdoor mall. I look at Times Square. I used to pay, I don't know, like $3, and I would see like a brilliant film with Cujo, you know, like a double feature, and it was in these incredible old theaters, you know, that have since, a lot of them have been torn down. I don't know, I'm kind of old-fashioned in a way, and I wish things would just stay as they were, but being that that's not gonna happen, not even from my face, you know, I just think it's important that we try to preserve cinema and the cinemas and help them get the money. And, you know, it made me become an actor as well. I would watch black and white movies with my grandma. And my mother had me very young, so my grandmother would go, come on, Deb, let's go to the theater. And we would just go to the Avenue in Jamaica, Queens, and see, you know, all these movies together. And I wanted to be a smoker because of it. It looks so glamorous, and oh, if only I knew. But, you know, I'm happy to be here, and I hope you raise a lot of money, Walter.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And boy, we can tell Debbie's age. $3 for a movie. I know some of us back in Philly remember going to the movies for $0.25, the matinees. Speaking of Philly, one of my Goombas is here. We go way, way back. His family is no stranger to the acting industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Stallone is with us.
Thank you so much. Well, Walter, I want to thank you for having me here. Melissa, thank you for turning me on, and everyone to come here. I, too, grew up in the theaters. I saw the first run of Love Me Tender with Elvis. And being from Italian immigrant parents, they thought he was like a fanoke because he had long hair and stuff. But I thought Elvis was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life. So my brother and I, we used to go to movie theaters. On Saturdays, your parents would drop you off at 11, and you'd be done by 4. There'd be movie tone, then there'd be 3, 4 cartoons and double features. And that went on our whole life. And I remember the theaters. I remember the Silver Theater. I remember in Philadelphia when I moved there in '58, they had the Goldman Theater. All Market Street was all these great, beautiful theaters. I mean, at nighttime, all the arrays, they were really gorgeous places. It was almost like Las Vegas. And we used to go in there, and they had the ushers with the red light, and they come around like that, and people were smoking. People smoked everywhere. People smoked in supermarkets. You're checking fruit with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth. I mean, stuff like that. And but theaters, we used to smoke and actually pick up girls in the movie theater. Hey, where are you going to be Sunday? We'll go to the Mayfair Theater in Northeast Philadelphia. Hey, did I see you in class? Sure, okay. Now you get locked up for being a pedophile. But anyway, in those days, it was a different time. And I think it's so, so important because it is, like Walter said, it's something that the film industry could really take care of in 1 second. And it's almost like they're killing their young. It's something they're taking away from something that is the heart and soul of the business. I've done 62 movies. I've done bad ones. I've done good ones. I've done in-between ones. But the thing is, it's so much fun to get up in the morning, get yourself ready, and go to work and do something. And hopefully, it'll go on the screen. I remember I had to convince my band when my brother was doing Rocky. He called me up. I was in Philadelphia. He said, yeah, do this movie. I said, what? I'm doing a boxing movie, and I want you to write music. I don't know how to write music about boxing. I don't know, anything. So, and I forgot about it. And I got a call, picked up the yellow rotary phone in Trenton, New Jersey at that time. And he said, yeah, I'm doing a movie about boxing. He goes, you want to be in it? Now, I had to talk my band into wanting to do the movie because it was so low budget. We were making $125 a night for 4 sets a night for the whole band. So he said, nah, man, we're making good money, $20 each. So Sly goes, we'll pay you $140 each. We go, what? $140 each? That's more than we made a week. So he went down, we did Rocky, stood on the street corner, sang Take You Back, forgot about it. A year later, I'm walking down the street in New York City. I look at the Village Voice, and there's a picture of my brother with his arms up saying, "Is this the new James Dean or Brando?" I go, "What? I forgot we even did the movie." Movie opened in 2 theaters, the Coronet and Baronet, 2 theaters. And from word of mouth, within a year was nominated for 10 Academy Awards. So it just shows the magic of film and the magic of word and mouth and the magic of hope and just keeping your eye, keeping your eye on things. So I think if people are out there and really want to get involved in this, I think this is really a cause that's really fun and worthwhile. And I want to thank Walter and everyone here, because I think this is going to be a really fun ride. I think it's going to go some great places, and I thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Frank. And then just a little north of Philly, I know there's some people here from the Big Apple, a guy that has countless credits to his name and truly one of the fine actors of our business. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Vincent.
Well, I can't say that as a kid I did all this because these guys are old. You look good. You look good. I want to thank my associates that all came here to do this, because this is really a terrific thing. And I have the stories like everybody else has at the Cameo Theater and the State Theater and the Lowe's Theater and the Stanley Theater. And the Stanley Theater, they used to have the sky, and the clouds would move. And these are all independent little theaters in Jersey City, New Jersey. And we did the same thing every Saturday. My mother would drop us off with the kids, and we stay in the theater with the news and comics, and not Superman. What was the other guy who flew? Flash Gordon. I mean, all of that. And then on Wednesday, they gave away cups and dishes to people. This is a terrific cause, and once again, I want everybody to spread the word, especially you, Tin Man. Get a hold of yourself. Clean, no marks. Again, thanks my associates for being here, and I want to thank Mr. Shaw. We've been friends for a long time, and this is a real terrific cause. So let's get behind it and make this happen. It really has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. Another one of my goombas that's always busting my chops. He calls me Dom DeLuise on Slim Fast. But you know what? As much as of a tough guy he wants to be, and as much of he truly, genuinely is just one big pussy. Ladies and gentlemen, Vincent Pastore.
Thank you, Dom. No, that's, I met him up in, where did I meet you? Up in West Palm? Dominic, what? We came off the same truck. Come on, Frank. Why are you telling everybody? Okay. There was a theater in New Rochelle, New York called the Town Theater. Remember, Chuck? And I was a young guy married, and my wife and I went to see a movie called Rocky, Frank Stallone. I looked at my wife and I said, I want to be an actor. And I too went on a Slim Fast diet, and I lost 50 pounds, and I wound up being in a play called South Pacific. Years later, I met a wonderful gentleman who had a band. I met him in a place called Hoops. His name is Frank Vincent, and he was playing with Joe Pesci on Sunday nights. And I was tending bar in a place called Peachtree's in New Rochelle, and my friend Kathy Moriarty used to hang out there, and she says, I'm making a movie. Okay, Kathy. We didn't believe her. With De Niro. Okay, Kathy. With Frank Vincent. Frank Vincent? Frankie's an actor now? Yeah, okay. So now, when Raging Bull comes out, I go back to the Town Theater, which was a little theater, 200 seats, and I see this wonderful movie. It was a little long, in black and white, and I saw Frank Vincent on the screen. And the reason why I'm talking about Frank is because I really never said this, and I think a couple times I say it, is Frank's my mentor, and the reason why I'm in the business is because of Frank. One night, I was sitting in my bar in the show with Matt Dillon and Kevin, and it was late, and we put a DVD on, and we were watching Pope of Greenwich Village. And the scene comes up where you took the guy's thumb, right, Frankie? And Matty said, you could do that. And Kevin got me in the business. Since then, I have worked with Frank in over maybe about 15 films, many television shows, including The Sopranos. And I was, what? I did a radio show with Frankie. We did a lot of stuff together. And when Frank called me up and said, would you want to get involved with this? I don't even ask him what it is. I just say, Frankie, whatever you want, I'm there. So thank you, Walter, for getting this going. But it was very special for Frankie to call me up because, you know, this is, we got to save the theater. We're movie stars, you know? We're movie stars. And we're not going to be called movie stars if we're not in the movies. You need a movie to star. So thank you, and here's Dom DeLuise again.
Thank you, Vince. I'm trying to separate because we only have a couple ladies here. Catherine Narducci, would you say a few words for us? Just a few, come on, just a few words. Catherine Narducci, ladies and gentlemen. You all know this fine lady. And I know you're texting and busy right now, Catherine, but could you give us a few words?
Yes, I could, but I need my glasses to do it. I don't have a childhood story. I grew up in New York City, so there were theaters all around me, and I always went, but I didn't have that small town theater. But currently, I am a die-hard independent film lover, and I just want to name a few. Swingers, Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau, Winter's Bone, Jennifer Lawrence, Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee, American Splendor, Paul Giamatti, A Woman Under the Influence, Cassavetes, Station Agent, Bobby Cannavale, My Own Private Idaho, River Phoenix, The Secretary, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and none of these movies would be possible for you to see without these independent film theaters. Chicago Overcoat with Frank Vincent. And me. A Bronx Tale, Robert De Niro. But I just want to say that they're really important, and they have, independent films have really different stories that need to be told that you would not see in a big multiplex. And that's basically all I want to say. I'm happy to be here, and I'm proud to be here, and I'm glad I'm here. And Walter, you're amazing. This idea is fantastic. And I mean, at these theaters, these are the same theaters that you could also see, like, you know, exploitation films, documentaries, what else? Foreign films, right, the foreign films, the midnight films. They have, you know, the midnight runs where you can see old classic films. And these theaters care and love about the movies that they show, I think. And it's a whole different experience in this kind of theater. You feel like you're going with, everyone is experiencing the same thing. It's like going to somebody's house when you go to one of these theaters, I feel. It's a more intimate thing, and they're important. We have to keep them around because they were important when, you know, when the big studios needed them and they weren't around. These are the theaters they did show the big movies in. And now they've moved on to big multiplex theaters where, you know, there's 25 films going on at one time, and they don't need the little guys anymore, and it's not fair. And I implore everybody to give whatever you can, and I don't know, keep supporting this cause. It's going to be again in New York City. Peggy Siegel is going to be doing it again at the Waldorf Astoria in March. And hopefully I'll come to that too. I'll be there for everyone that I could. So that's it.
Thank you, Kathy. So true what you said. You know, sometimes you go to these multiplexes, you feel like you're watching a movie in a screening room. For those who've ever been to a screening room, and if there's a loud shoot 'em up bang bang picture next door to you, and you're watching something soft and easy, you can hear the sounds coming through the walls, and just really impersonal. We gotta, when they invited me here today, and of course, in my Italian background, I thought it was a Sons of Italy meeting, Walter. Got another Paisan in the audience too, another fine actor as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Zito is with us. Chuck. I always said about you got my old body, man.
I just want to thank Walter for bringing me down here and all my friends here, the fellow actors. I have the same couple of stories as everybody else. I remember going to the Bronx when I was a kid to the Whitestone Drive-In with my family. And then when we moved to Brooklyn, went to a few theaters out there. I remember, cost 50 cents for 2 feature films, 3 cartoons, and a newsreel. So that you don't get today anymore. But it's an important thing. I started as a stuntman in the movie business first before I became an actor. And I wound up getting the great show on HBO, Oz. And from there I went to other things. So to me, it's there's some great films out there, that, especially around the Christmas time, the old classics. Like Ben-Hur and 10 Commandments, Miracle on 34th Street. That it's just classics, and that's what we're missing today. But I'm just great to be here. Everybody heard the stories already, so thank you very much. Thank you, Walter Shaw, for bringing me here. And it's a great cause, so whatever we could do to help, of course, we'll do it. Thank you.
And just one more before we move on. Music, ladies and gentlemen, is a very big part of cinema, and we had a last-minute special guest who came in. Anybody remember the song "I Only Have Eyes for You"? The Flamingos was probably in over a dozen films. He's with us today. Terry Johnson of the Flamingos. Would you say a few words for us? Without music in movies, we would be nowhere. And Frank Vincent, I think you'll echo that as well. Without music, it's just. Imagine watching a movie. Shut off the sound sometime while you're watching a movie. It's like not there. Terry Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Well, I can remember exactly what you guys were talking about. We would play the Apollo Theater. Remember in New York? Brooklyn Fox, Brooklyn Paramount, 2 or 3 different films, cartoons, the newsreel. Man, that was the good days. And you were so right about, hearing, if you want to see something personal in the movie and you hear something boom, 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 the big sounds invading your hearing, I miss the good days, and I think that's a great idea of what you're doing. God bless you, man. If we can just keep it, not bring it back, but just keep what we have, I think we'll make a big difference. And to everybody in here who's for this, let's pull together and try to make it happen. Okay?
Thank you, Terry.